Hello students, hello people, welcome back to my channel. So in the last video we have started with the dimensional analysis and its application. So we have seen the first application, that is checking the correctness of any equation or formula. Now based on this concept, based on the principle of homogeneity, which states that each and every term in a mathematical equation must have same dimension. Based on this, let us see few problems. So let us have a look at this first question. So the question says the linear momentum p of a particle is given as a function of time. So we have linear momentum which has been given as a function of time. The dimensions of constant b are. So we need to find the dimensional formula for the constant b. So let us see how to solve this problem. So instead of finding dimensional formula for just b, let us find dimensional formula for all the three constants a, b and c. So this is based on principle of homogeneity. So this mathematical expression that we have is p equal to at square plus bt plus c. So here each and every term will have same dimension. So the dimension of p will be equal to the dimension of at square, that will be equal to the dimension of bt, and that will be equal to the dimension of c. So with this information we'll try to solve this problem. So here dimension of at square will be same as dimension of p, that is the momentum. And first of all, let us find the dimensional formula for linear momentum. So linear momentum p is nothing but mass into velocity. Okay. So the dimensional formula for linear momentum will become same as dimensional formula for mass into velocity. So for mass we have m, and for velocity we have L t to the power minus 1. Okay. Now let us find the dimensional formula for A. So the dimension of at square will be same as dimension of momentum p. So here the dimension of A is unknown, whereas t is time. So t will have dimension t square, and p, which is linear momentum, for that the dimension will be m L t to the power minus 1, that we have already seen. Okay. So from here, upon simplification, we can write that dimensional formula for A will be m L t to the power minus 1 divided by t square, and that becomes, upon simplification, m L t to the power minus 3. So the dimensional formula for A is m L t to the power minus 3. Fine. So here we got the dimensional formula for A. Now let us find the dimensional formula for B. So for B, or of B, again we can equate the dimension of the term Bt to that of momentum. So dimensional formula for B into T will be same as dimensional formula for momentum, that is ml t minus 1. Here B is the constant whose dimension we need to find, and T is time. So dimension of B into T will be same as dimension of ml t to the power minus 1. So the dimensional formula for B, you will get it as ml t to the power minus 2, okay, upon simplification. So this is the dimensional formula for B. Same way, if we try to find the dimensional formula for C, so the dimensional formula for C will be same as the dimensional formula for P, which is the linear momentum. Okay. So we can write directly here the dimensional formula for C will be ml t to the power minus 1. Now here we had to find the dimensional formula for B. Yes, dimensional formula of B only, but we have found for A, B and C for our understanding. So for B, what we have is ml t to the power minus 2. So the answer here will be the third option. Okay. Now let us go for the next question. Okay. So let us have a look at this next question. So the question says the potential energy U of a particle varies with distance x from a fixed origin as U equal to a root x by x plus b, where a and b are constants. The dimensions of a and b are respectively. So here U is potential energy, x is distance, and a and b are some constants, and we need to find the dimensional formula for a and b, or dimensional formula of a and b. So let us see how to do this. Now in these type of questions, if you are able to see any addition or subtraction relation anywhere, so we know that if you are adding or subtracting any two physical quantity, then they must have same dimension. So with that information we can find the dimensional formula for B. Okay. So that the dimensional formula of B will be same as dimensional formula of X, because we are adding B and X. So let us see, first we'll solve for A, first we'll solve for B. So the dimensional formula of B will be same as dimensional formula of X, and X is nothing but distance. So the dimensional formula for B will be simply L. So we do not have the answer in standard form, so we'll keep it as it is. So the dimensional formula for B we got L. Now let us see how to solve for A. So for A, we'll equate the dimensions on both the sides. So the potential energy U is equal to A root x by x plus B. Okay. So here the dimensions of U will be same as dimension of this complete expression. Okay. Now the dimensional formula for U, which is potential energy, so the dimensional formula will be same as that of energy, that is ml square T minus 2, and A here is unknown, x is L, so A we can keep as it is, and the dimensional formula for root x will become L to the power 1 by 2 divided by, now here we are adding x plus b, we have this term x plus b, so x will have dimension L and b will also have dimension L. So overall we have to just focus on the dimension of this particular expression. Okay, so here we will not write L plus L and 2L. We know that dimension of both x and b are L. So here we will not be writing L plus L as 2L, we will be just taking it as L. Okay, we just need to focus on the dimension, the unit. We are not bothered about the magnitude. Yes or no? You add 5 kg and 3 kg, finally we are gonna get 8 kg. So that will have same dimension as that of mass. We are not focusing on the magnitude here. So the dimensional formula for x plus b will be simply L. Okay, now let us simplify this a little bit. So here we have m L square t to the power minus 2, and here a is unknown, and this will be L to the power minus 1 by 2. So if we send L to the power minus 1 by 2 on this right side, on the left side, and if we write a on the LHS, it will become m into L to the power L square t to the power minus 2 divided by L to the power minus 1 by 2. Okay, which upon simplification we can get m into L to the power 2 plus 1 by 2 into t to the power minus 2. So 2 plus 1 by 2 will become 4 plus 1 by 2, that is 5 by 2. So I'll take it from here and let me write it. Here. Okay, so the dimensions of A will become m into L to the power 2 plus 1 by 2 t to the power minus 2. So the dimensional formula for A will get it as m L to the power 5 by 2 into T to the power minus 2. Okay, so this will be the dimensional formula for A. So for A we have m L to the power 5 by 2 T to the power minus 2, and for B we have L. So here the answer will be the first option. Okay students, let us go for the next question now. So let us have a look at this question. So the question is, in the relation y equal to a cos omega t minus kx, the dimensional formula for k is. So here we need to find the dimensional formula for k, and this particular expression is given. Okay. So here they have not mentioned, but let me write it, that your t is time and x is position. And y is also representing position along y-axis or the coordinate. So t is time, x is position, and y is also position. And based on this information, we need to find the dimensional formula for k. Okay. So here let us try to find dimensional formula for all the three constants, that is a, omega, as well as k. Okay. So first of all, let us find the dimensional formula of a. So for a, the expression that we have is y equal to a cos omega t minus kx. Now let us equate the dimensions on both sides. So the dimension of y will be same as dimension of a cos omega t minus kx. So here we in the earlier videos we have seen that the trigonometric ratios, like sine theta, cos theta, trigonometric ratios are dimensionless. So same way here, this complete expression cos omega t minus kx, so basically omega t minus kx is representing some angle, and cos of that will be dimensionless, and y is position, so the dimension will be same as that of length, and that will be equal to the dimension of a. Okay. So the dimensional formula for a will get as L, or in standard form we can write m to the power 0 L into t to the power 0. Okay. Similarly, let us find for omega. Okay. So for omega, what we do here is, in this expression, see omega t overall, this complete term is representing some angle, and kx is also representing some angle. Okay. Now we know that angles are dimensionless. So this complete expression omega t as well as kx will be dimensionless. So we can write it here that omega into t will be dimensionless. So dimensionless quantity can be written as m to the power 0, l to the power 0, t to the power 0. So the dimension of t is not known. T is known, omega is unknown. So this is t. And here we have m to the power 0, l to the power 0, t to the power 0. So we can write the dimensional formula for omega as m to the power 0, l to the power 0, t to the power 0 divided by t. Okay. So in the standard form, finally we'll get the dimensional formula for omega as m to the power 0, l to the power 0, t to the power minus 1. So this will be the dimensional formula for omega. So in a similar way, we can find dimensional formula for k. Okay. So again the complete term k into x will be dimensionless. So dimension of k is unknown, whereas dimension of x is known, that is L. And here we have m to the power 0, l to the power 0, t to the power 0. So the dimension of k will be dimension of m to the power 0, l to the power 0, t to the power 0 divided by L. Okay. Or upon simplification, that becomes m to the power 0, l to the power minus 1, t to the power 0. So this is the dimensional formula for k. So the option that we have, the correct answer here will be the third option. Okay, so I think these three problems are sufficient to understand the concept. Now we'll go for the next application, the second application of dimensional analysis. So the second application that we have for dimensional analysis is deducing relation between different physical quantities. Or you can also call it in a way that we try to derive a formula with the help of dimensional analysis. So here let us take one example to understand. Suppose we need to derive a formula for time taken by a body to come down by height h. Okay. Or suppose if you have a building and if you drop any object from this particular building, from rest. Okay. So from here we are dropping an object from rest. So initial velocity of the body is 0. Okay. And suppose the height of the tower or the building is h. Okay. So here we need to derive an expression for time taken by this ball to reach the ground. Okay. So let us see how to do this one. So first we need to figure out on which physical quantities this time will depend upon. Okay. Or if there's a question, they will tell you on which physical quantity it will depend. So the time will depend upon two physical quantities here. So first one is height, and second one is acceleration due to gravity. Okay. So height h and acceleration due to gravity g. So we can write that t will be proportional to. Now it will depend upon height and acceleration due to gravity, but we do not know what exactly will be the relation. By that what I mean is we do not know to what power of height or to what power of acceleration due to gravity this time will be related to. Okay. So that we need to figure out. So that we can write as s to the power x into g to the power y. So suppose this time is depending upon some x power of h and y power of g. So there will be some proportionality constant that can be written as k into h to the power x and g to the power y. Next step is we'll equate the dimensions on both sides. So dimension of t will be same as dimension of k into h to the power x and g to the power y. So here k is some proportionality constant, some mathematical value it will be. So that will be a dimensionless quantity. And for time t, we'll get it as capital T here. And on the right hand side, k is dimensionless, h is height, so L, so L to the power x, and g, that is acceleration due to gravity. For that we have L t to the power minus 2, the dimension, whole to the power y. Okay, so I'll write the right hand side part on the left hand side. So it becomes L to the power x into L to the power y into t to the power minus 2y equal to t. Okay. So now let us simplify this a little bit. So overall power of L will get added here. So we'll get L to the power x plus y and t to the power minus 2y equal to m to the power 0, L to the power 0 and t to the power 1. Okay. So now the idea is that we will equate the powers having the same base. Okay. So here the power of L is x plus y on the left hand side and power of L is 0 on the right hand side. So these we can equate and we can get equations. Okay. So like x plus y will be equal to 0 and minus 2y. So power of t here is minus 2y and on this side we have 1. Okay. So let us, if we simplify this expression, we'll get y as minus 1 by 2. Okay. So we got y as minus 1 by 2 and from here x will be minus y, or we can say x will be equal to 1 by 2. So we got the two values of x and y. So x we got it as 1 by 2 and y we got it as minus 1 by 2. Okay. So now we can write the formula. We can write the formula for time or what we wanted to derive here. So the formula will be the time t will be equal to some mathematical constant k into h to the power 1 by 2 and g to the power minus 1 by 2. So that basically becomes k into under root h by g. Okay, here g will come to the denominator, so that can be written as under root h by g. So this is the formula that we can derive with the help of dimensional analysis. Okay, so here the k value, that is a mathematical constant that we cannot derive with the help of dimensional analysis. So that is one of the limitations of deriving a formula with a dimensional analysis. We cannot find the value of constant. Okay, and here if we find the constant value with the help of equation of motion, that is s equal to ut plus half at square, it comes out to be root 2. Okay, so here in the actual formula k will be equal to root 2, which we cannot find with the help of dimensional analysis. Okay, so from this we understand that there are certain limitations for deriving a formula with the help of dimensional analysis. Okay, so let us first try to understand what are the limitations that we have in deriving the formula with the help of dimensional analysis. Okay. Let us discuss few points. So limitations of formula derivation, or we can say limitations in formula derivation by dimensional analysis. Okay, so this is a little bit of theory. So the first limitation that we have, that the numerical constants having no dimension, okay, cannot be deduced by the methods of dimension. Okay, like if you have any number, any mathematical number such as 2, 5, no, or pi or e, etc. So these value cannot be, or we can just write can't. Cannot be deduced using dimensional analysis. The second limitation that we have here is we cannot derive relations other than products of power functions. What it means is we can only derive relations where we have few physical quantities in multiplication or division. If there is some addition or subtraction involved, those kind of relations or those kind of formulas cannot be deduced with the help of dimensional analysis. Okay. Okay, so dimensions method cannot be used to derive formulas having relations apart from multiplication, division and power function. Okay. So for example, S equal to ut plus half at square. So here we have an addition relation in between. So in that case we cannot use dimensional analysis. Or y equal to a sine omega t plus phi. Okay. So here the sine term, the sine relation becomes dimensionless. Okay. So these are few examples where these kind of relations cannot be derived or deduced with the help of dimensional analysis. Okay. The third limitation is we cannot use this method to derive formula in mechanics if the physical quantity depends on more than 3 physical quantity. So cannot be used to derive a formula in mechanics if it depends on more than 3 physical quantities. Okay. This is because what will happen is that the number of equations will be less than the number of variables that we'll get. Okay. So in that case we cannot use this dimensional analysis to find the formula. Okay. And at the same time, if there is a formula in which we have physical quantities which are having same dimensions, okay, again in that case those formulas cannot be derived. Okay, so formulas having, I can say, cannot be used to derive formulas having two or more physical quantity having same dimension. Okay. So if you have any formula where there are two or more physical quantities which is having same dimension, okay, so if you have length and breadth, they are having same dimension, okay, or sometimes like fringe width, if I take for example, so fringe width, you will be studying about this in wave optics topic in 12th standard. So there is a formula for fringe width which is y equal to lambda d by d. So in this case you can see that all these three quantities, all these three physical quantities, that is lambda capital D by small d, is having same dimension. So all are representing, all are having dimension same as that of length. So this formula you cannot derive with the help of dimensional analysis. Okay. So these were the few limitations that are there in derivation of a formula using dimensional analysis. Okay. So we'll see few more questions based on derivation of formula by dimensional analysis in the next video. Okay. So I'll end this video here. So again I'll advise, if you feel that this video is slow for you, then you can speed up the video. You can watch it as 1.5x or 2x so that you are at a comfortable pace according to the point of preparation in which you are right now. So I'll end the session now. Bye bye. Thank you for watching.